how's it going? Welcome to the Canadian Starships live stream tonight. My name is Andrew. This is Canadian Starships. We are going to start off by saying, can you hear me? Can you see me? Leave a comment in the comment section there if you can see me and hear me. I am joined tonight by Todd, who has come on to produce. Say hello, Todd.
Hello.
You missed your cue there. Say hello, Todd.
Hello, Todd.
There you go. That's the way you're supposed to do it. So welcome everybody to the live stream. Again, if you are here, let me know so I know exactly who we're talking to tonight, because it's always nice to know who is here, who we're chatting with, who we're having this time with. So let me know. I have my tea, Earl Grey, hot in my Picard cup, and we are all ready to go. You might notice behind me that the bench, that things look a little bit different right now. The bench is askew. This thing is too big now to be able just to flip around as needed, especially when it is, let me see here, when it's on its backside like that. It's not so bad when it's on its stand. I can pick it up by the stand and I can move it around. But when it's sitting on its back like that to get the underside, it is just too big and heavy and cumbersome to really move around. So I've had to move the bench out from the wall, and it's on a weird angle because I can kind of get around the corner here. I can't really put it all the way out from the wall because I can't get in and out because I've got stuff there. But this is my solution to be able to work on both sides of the model. Here it is. Oh, there we go. Here it is on the bench. And the bench is a little bit cluttery right now, but it's on its back. It's getting seam work done, and we're really close. Really close to being done with the seam work, at least with the first round seam work. What's going to happen is I'm going to finish up the seam work tonight, hopefully, and then get everything else that has to be masked before it gets primed masked up. So hopefully by the end of the stream tonight, fingers crossed, this thing will be ready to take a coat of primer tomorrow. I won't be doing that tonight because I don't want to open up all the doors right now because it's after 9 p.m. and it's also been raining here all day, and the moisture in the air is not so conducive to the paint. So that's what we're doing. That's where we're at, and we'll see how far we get with that. I am hoping that I've done enough work on the seams that they're just going to turn out flawless when I do the gray primer. I know that's hoping for more than what will be delivered, but hopefully I won't have too many rounds of seam work to do before base coat goes on, because this thing needs to be done. I flipped the calendar in our kitchen today and flipped it over to May because I'd forgotten to do that 2 days ago. And it's like, yeah, I see the words Wonderfest at the bottom of the calendar, and kind of just starts to make it real that it's this month that it has to be packed up and put into the car and driven down to Wonderfest. So
it's close, man. It's close.
Lots to do and less time to do it in. So we've got Jody here. Welcome, Jody. Thank you for joining the stream. I'm not sure who else is out there because they haven't said hi yet. So I
6 people watching. Say hi.
Yeah, I don't know who I'm talking to yet, other than I'm talking to Jody and I'm talking to Todd. The only problem with these cups is they're tiny. I think they're like 6 ounces.
That's just lots of refills.
Yeah, and they look cool. So that's what's important. All right.
Are you going to shave your head so you more like Picard, or?
What's that?
Are you going to shave your head so it's more like Picard?
No. I will keep my hair as long as I possibly
can. As long as you can.
Hopefully that means I'm going to keep my hair forever. Hopefully it means I'm not going to lose my hair.
Yvang has a question. At this point in the build, what would you say is the most challenging part of this kit?
The most challenging part of this kit has been dealing with the armature. R&D on the armature. There was no metal armature provided, so I've had to deal with that from scratch. And probably the R&D specifically on the pylons. I'm the only one so far that's added support in the pylons on this project. So that was interesting to figure out. It's turned out really well. You really can't see the support embedded into the pylons, but definitely the most challenging part and the biggest time sink on the project to date has been the armature, because it just took forever to work out and figure out. I'm not a metal worker. That's not my area of expertise, so I've kind of had to figure it out as I've gone. So yeah, that's definitely been the biggest challenge. The build itself has gone fairly quickly because it came together pretty quickly. The seam work is, I mean, it's seam work. It's the seam work's the part that I like the least on these projects. Again, just because you're never quite sure when it's done, and you could kind of get in the death spiral of trying to get perfect seams that will never happen. So, and as a perfectionist, it's hard to let go of the seam work if it's not exactly 100% perfect in my eyes. And so I think that's the part I dislike the most, and I'm looking forward to the paint. Evang also says, I have this kit, but I'm in the same boat. I'm not a metal worker, and I'm a little nervous about it. Yeah. For the pylons, no, this isn't something. I'm just looking around my shop to see where it got put.
Talking about your buck? That was probably the most important thing you made.
Yeah, I'm looking for buck.
Yeah.
This was the most important thing when it came to the supports on the pylons. So I had this cut. I didn't cut this myself. My father is a woodworker. He has a full woodworking shop at his house, and so I took all of the measurements. I took tracings on cardstock of the shape, which you have to be really kind of very accurate about. Transferred it as a pattern to this, and I was able to take the steel strip and bend it over the block of wood. And that was absolutely key in being able to do this. Now, you either need to cut these corners more rounded than you need, or you have to further bend these edges using a pipe, like a metal pipe, to kind of give you the ability to bend it a bit more. Just because the metal will always spring back, so you always have to over bend it for it to be able to hold the correct shape. And that was just some trial and error, doing it, testing it in the kit, going back, testing it again until you just get it right. And then the other,
yeah, I mean, you probably could have over angled that, but it depends on the metal you're using, what kind of metal, how springy it is. I mean, the best thing, have you ever thought about measuring that block and sharing those measurements?
Yeah, I'm not quite sure the most useful way to do that. I mean, if there's anybody who wants to take a pattern off of it at Wonderfest, I mean, I can throw it in the car and bring it. Or if somebody wants
at least even, you know what, even just to display that with your model, to say, to show that, hey, this also has metal supports in it. Here's the buck I use, you know?
Or if somebody wants to, when they're at the show, if they've got the kit and they're looking to do it and they want to go to, I mean, you don't have Canadian Tire, which is where I got mine, but if you want to go to a hardware store and get the steel strip and grab some clamps and form it over this while you're there, why not? Yeah. Right?
He says it's seemingly unending. Yeah, that's true. I think he means leverage. Yep.
Yeah.
Yvang says, do you have any plans to make and sell parts like these supports?
No, I'm not somebody to make aftermarket stuff. I'm happy to share anything that I've come up with. So any artwork I've come up with, any masks that I've come up with, I've had people. I've had to send out some mask sets to people for the windows. Now I've had to charge a certain amount just to cover my costs on it. So to cover the cost of the vinyl and shipping. But if somebody has a Cameo and they want the file for cutting it, I'm happy just to send it to people, right? I'm not one that's looking to get into the business of making aftermarket parts for stuff. I have no interest in that. I will build you a model on commission, but I will not get into selling aftermarket parts for stuff. Just not what I'm into.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Jody says if you just measure the overall length and shape of the block and maybe the radius of the corner, it's really all you need to put down, Is it a smooth radius or is it a compound radius?
It's not a...
It's not a perfect circle?
No. So, yeah, I'm not sure what the best way to communicate that would be. I mean, maybe I take a pattern off of it and create like a PDF of the pattern that people can print out and
well, if somebody wants it, what I would say is maybe you can find some place that will 3D scan it for you, turn it into a 3D shape, and then they can cut it, print it, whatever they need to do to make one.
Yeah. But yeah, maybe it'd be a good idea to bring it to Wonderfest, and if anybody wants to use it or take measurements off of it or whatever, they are welcome to do that. That might not be a bad idea. I'm just going to refill my tea here, and look at me. I'm walking away to the other desk here, and you can still hear me exactly the same as you could when I was at the streaming desk.
Magic.
Yeah. I've decided I'm still using my studio mic for my intros and outros because it just goes like right above me.
Sure.
Just out of frame because I couldn't quite get the sound quality on the recordings that I can get with the other one. And
that's another reason I use the lapel is because the lapel brings it closer to your face without having that clip to your collar,
Yeah, well, the other challenge for me is I also tried hiding the mic, hiding the lav.
Yeah.
So I actually have a Shure lav mic for like public speaking stuff, but it's not conducive to this kind of thing because it's got a big like a big body pack, and it has to go to a fairly large Shure receiver and all that kind of stuff, and has to go through XLR, and it's meant for like on stage use. It's not really meant for this type of thing. Like these packs.
Oh, we lost your audio.
Can you hear me now?
There we go.
Okay, I picked up the transmitter. Sorry, I mean I picked up the receiver, and
lost it again.
I'm going to just put the receiver down. I was just going to pick it up and show, but I don't have the reach on the wire. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
So like this style is better for this type of thing, right? It's just USB in, so much simpler. So the reason I wasn't using like a lav before is one, I typically don't wear button-up shirts on live streams, and I do have this little gizmo. So you put sticky on the back, and then with the Shure, you can actually put it in under your clothes, and it picks up the sound properly. But these ones that go along with this don't quite work the same way when you put them underneath the clothing. Because for the intros and outros, I don't really want the microphone just on my shirt or something.
Yeah.
So, but this works really great for live streams. I'm just using the magnetic, right? So
yeah,
just clips
Bank
on.
Says, where can we find info on your commission rates for building this model?
I don't publicly publicize my commission rates. I will do quotes for people if they inquire. And I would say probably 80% of the time, I then don't hear back from them ever again after they get my quotes.
Yeah. Do you have a way for them to contact you? Do you have a email or through a comment or something? Or?
I do. So they can contact me via contact@canadianstarships.com.
There you go.
And it's there in the chat.
Ricardo's here. Hello, everybody.
Welcome to the stream.
Jody says he was talking with Bill Krause today about the 350 scale Enterprise, and he recommends support rods for the pylons and the neck.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, Bill creates an entire brass armature for any of those kits that he does.
Yep. And he shares them online. Like if you're watching him on Facebook, he shares all that stuff, and he does incredible work. It's all soldered brass armatures, and
I'd imagine he's probably silver soldering.
I probably, yeah.
Which is something I need to add to my skill sets, because I had to if I could do all that work myself, where it's not just simple stuff, then that would make things a lot easier for me. So
well, maybe we can get him to come up to the suite, Wonderfest. We can pick his brain a little.
I've always found him to be a little odd.
Aren't we all?
To speak with, depending on his any of the interactions I've seen tend to be kind of just how you approach him and maybe what kind of a mood he happens to be in during the day. So
yeah, I don't think you can approach him with high energy. He seems like kind of an introvert, and you can overwhelm him really quick, and he just shuts down. You watch him in interviews, like when he was untested, and he just seems really uncomfortable.
Yeah, and I get the feeling, I haven't had any in-depth conversations with him, right? But I get the feeling that he also, his sense of humor might not come across as humor all the time, I would think. So, but these are just my observations from the few small interactions I've had.
You know what, though? He's going to come talk to you because he's going to see that Enterprise, and he's going to be like, hey, what's up?
But I think the thing I am most impressed with his work is his finish.
Oh yeah, no, it's stunning. No seam line, it's beautiful. He has a couple. I think he has at least one, but maybe two. He's bringing to Wonderfest, and they're all new designs. That's the best part. They're just like completely new things he comes up with, right? And he 3D prints these parts and makes them look just perfect. He does really good.
Yeah. Well, and Jody says that's why he's able to create his own designs so well.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah. But it would some of these guys must have more time to build as well, because I don't understand how they're able to get so much done.
Have you seen his office?
I have not. No.
Oh, he posted a picture of his work area, and he has this huge like floor-to-ceiling window that just stares out into the forest. It's just so peaceful. And it looks so nice. And I'm like, I could live in there.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why he does. Jody says, odd behavior is a sign of creativity. It's true.
And then he says,
wait to meet me.
So, Jody, do you know if you're coming yet or not?
I did see he posted he's got his Canadian passport.
Yeah.
He says the first time I ever needed one. I don't know. Is he coming?
We could break the news here first.
We could.
Heard it here first, folks. Just waiting.
Patiently waiting.
Dots. 3 little dots. That doesn't show up like that here, but all right. Well, I'm going to if we can save enough money, he says.
Well, we hope you can make it, because we'd love to meet you.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's certainly an investment to make the trip, but honestly, it's an investment worth making, because you're going to be able to connect with all these people that you've only ever been able to connect with virtually online, and being able to do that is huge. It's really nice to be able to connect with people that you've already connected with that are are part of your circle for all of this stuff, but you just have never met in person. So definitely great to do that, to hang out, to connect with people. And then you also end up connecting with people you never met before or never knew of before, and you make new connections and new friendships and all that kind of stuff. So definitely worth going if you're able to pull it off there. I'm assuming you'd probably be driving down. I would imagine it's probably the same time frame, because you have to come down, I have to go over and then down. So I would think that you're probably around the 13-hour mark too.
Well, he says he's never been out of Ontario before.
There you go.
Well, we don't bite, Jody. Hard.
Yeah, I'd be curious which way you'd be coming down, if you'd be heading down to Sarnia and across or something like that. All right, I'm going to head over to the bench.
Yeah.
And the sound is going to come with me. Let's fade over here. That doesn't work yet. Let me just activate that. There we go. And bring my teacup with me. So it says we've got 12 people watching, but yes. I'm not sure who all those 12 people are. I'd love to know who people are.
Jody says he will be driving. It's 13 to 15 hours going straight through Sault Ste. Marie. Sault Ste. Marie.
Sault Ste. Marie.
Sault Ste. Marie. Yeah, I don't know how to say that. It's French. Sault Ste. Marie. All right.
Yeah,
do people just say SSM or something? Do they shorten that?
I have no idea. So Sault Ste. Marie would be the fastest way for you to go there, Jody?
That's what he's saying, yeah.
Because, okay. I would have, had I guessed, I would have guessed that you would have just come down through, the 400 down into Toronto area, or, well, I guess if you cross at the Sioux, that takes you down through all the way down through Michigan. Yeah,
he said the Sioux.
Yeah.
Yeah. Eubank says, where are you guys going? A TrekCon. We're talking about Wonderfest. It's in Louisville, Kentucky at the end of the month. It's just a big sci-fi modeling show. You can go to wonderfest.com for all the info.
Yeah, it's the largest, I believe it's the largest scale modeling show for sci-fi, horror, fantasy, basically pop culture in North America. So it's not like cars and military and planes and that kind of thing. It's specifically, or mostly at least, sci-fi, fantasy,
horror, monsters,
those genres.
Science fiction, space.
And the guests that they tend to get are specialized in those areas too.
Yeah, a lot of like creature creators, people that are like makeup artists, things like that. They get a lot of people that work in that kind of realm. But also a lot of modelers, like people that build models or worked building models, or a lot of science fiction, like sci-fi dioramas, a lot of ships, things like that.
Do you remember how many models they had in the contest last year?
Ooh, but I will look that up. But I want to say like 1,800.
That sounds high. If I was guessing, I'd say it was around 13.
Let me check.
13 or 14 rings a bell.
Let's see if we can find
this
out.
Next scene. I know you can't. Let me see if I can pivot the base here a little bit. But yeah, this next scene here is starting to look quite good.
It looks good, yeah. Right, especially where you were cleaning up just now.
I love the perfect plastic putty because it basically you can water sand it. A Q-tip and some water does a great job at sanding. Like,
what kind of putty? What putty are you using? Let's share with the crowd.
Perfect plastic putty.
Oh, okay. Yeah. In the tube. Yeah.
Oh, There we go.
Yep, I like using that stuff too. You know what I like about that stuff too? It doesn't shrink as much when it dries. Like I use like a Vallejo plastic putty, things like that, and you have to keep adding it because it keeps shrinking. You know, it falls in the hole.
So if you use it full strength, it doesn't tend to shrink. But I also water it down to get it right into some of the tight spots, which is a method I learned from Boyd.
Right. Yep.
And so that will shrink down a bit. But no, it's great stuff to use.
Okay. Ricardo says, I couldn't get to Wonderfest this year, but 2026, try and stop me. Hey, we'd love to see you. Come on up. Jody says, the Sioux is only about 2.5 hours from here. We would go through Ann Arbor on an effort to meet Howard. Oh. Nice. So I do have a number. It was with over 1,118 entries in 2024.
Okay. So
just over 1,100. Jody says he liked all the Galileo themed shuttles. Yeah, that was a modeling group that did that. And they all came up with different themes of ways to convert a Galileo shuttle into other things. There was like an Ecto 1. There was I think, was there like a, God, they had also, I can't even think of all. One of them had the Shaggy dog from Dumb and Dumber. Like,
so that was a modeling group that did
yeah,
that?
it was like HTM. It was like a modeling group, and they all got together and said, let's find different ways to modify a Galileo shuttle and do a different theme.
And then they just contacted Wonderfest, and Wonderfest actually got back to them.
Yeah. Speaking of which, I guess we can share the news here. You can have some breaking news. I talked to somebody else at Wonderfest, somebody that actually runs the show, not somebody that wouldn't answer me through the forum on the website. I found him through Facebook. And I asked him about his God, what was his name? George Soletis. And he says, you know, it's really too bad that I'm hearing from you now. He says, we already have somebody doing that. Exactly that, like a little repair center. Neil Cortez, I guess. I don't know who that is, but apparently fairly well known, is setting up some kind of similar booth. So not this year, I guess.
Yeah.
Jody said, is there a difference between the Vallejo plastic putty and Perfect putty?
Different company?
Yeah, it's a different company, and I think it's different. Plastic putty is not bad, but again, like you put it in, you level it, and everything, it dries lumpy. I used it on the back of the seats in my Degasini Millennium Falcon, the interior seats. I used it to fill it. I couldn't get that to get smooth, no matter how hard I tried. You'd sand it, there'd be holes in it, and but the Perfect putty, I never had that problem.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah. Like it seems like the Perfect putty didn't get bubbles in it. It dried more the way you left it. I don't know. Jody says, I have one, and I'm thinking Planet Express ship. There you go. Are you gonna do a Galileo shuttle conversion? I think a lot of your ships would be really popular, Jody. And ship and just makes them out of random stuff. I think that, especially if you said, you know, see if you can find the household items.
Well, and they would be totally unique, right? It's not like there'd be 5 of them at the show.
Right. I mean, it'd be a one-off. You'd have, hey, all these are made out of just bash kits and household parts, you know. I think, and he comes up with some great designs too.
Yeah.
He also says he doesn't like plastic putty. Yeah, I'm just not a fan.
So which plastic putty are you talking
about? The Vallejo makes a plastic putty, but I found that stuff, the Perfect putty, I really do like it. It is perfect.
I just spent like a minute looking for one tool around my workbench. It
was
hidden underneath the saucer. There's a little bit somewhere around here. There's a wee bit of the, or at least I thought there was. I thought I saw a wee bit of the JB Quick Weld showing through, which is right here.
That stuff's a little harder to get worked on.
What's that?
JB Weld.
Well, I'm finding that there's like any area where it like leaked out, and I'm having to clean it up, it's actually not cleaning up too difficult. Let me rephrase that and try that again, because speaking apparently is difficult. I haven't found it too difficult to remove any of the areas where it leaked out. If I'm using a chisel.
Is it an epoxy, or you're not talking about the JB Weld that welds transmissions, the metal epoxy?
So I am talking about the JB Quick Weld, which is, let me see if I've got an unopened. Yeah, I've got an unopened package here. So this has been huge for this project.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Which is different from the like the clear epoxies.
Yeah.
Holds better.
Like normal JB Weld, you can like weld a transmission back together. I've seen people do it on the trail of like Jeeps. So I'm like, you have metal in, and it like bonds like metal. Ricardo says, in fact, I discovered the HTM group from the live stream that you guys did at Wonderfest last year in the room when you showed the Johnny 5. Oh, very cool. We're going to be doing that again this year. We'll probably stream on Friday and Saturday night. Yuvang has a question. Is all of your light blocking on the outside, or did you do any light blocking on the inside?
All of my light blocking is on the inside. And the reason for that is to keep as many of the layers of paint off the outside as possible.
Right. Yeah.
Because otherwise, I just find it gets too gummed up, too thick. You lose detail.
You start losing detail. Yeah, that was always my fear about adding paint. Like I didn't even want to paint the Millennium Falcon, but then I realized that, when you airbrush, you're adding like a micron of paint. But still, it adds up. Jody says the JB Quick Weld is great. That stuff is great. Alec is here. He says, hi, Andrew. I'm almost done with work. Literally 10 minutes to go.
Welcome, Alec.
Yuvang says, so you had to mask the windows on the inside?
No, I primed. So I coated the inside with black primer first, and then I hit it with white primer, and then I filled all the windows in. So just the kit comes with all the windows open. So I light block the inside first, and then I go through and fill in all the windows with the Solar Res.
And now, you cut stencils, right, for all the windows and stuck them on.
I did, and I'm using some of them right now just to replace some of the masks on the saucer rim that have come up a little bit just during the process of handling the model.
Did you share that? It's like a Cricut file or something, right? Or Cameo?
Yeah, the Cameo Silhouette Studio file. So yeah, I've given some people the file who have the machine to cut themselves.
Yeah.
And some people have just wanted me to cut them, some of the window masks. So I've sent a bunch down to the US, and I've sent at least one batch of them to the UK. And like I said earlier, I'm just charging a minimal charge just so that my supplies and my costs are covered. But if somebody has the machine and just wants to be able to cut them themselves, they're welcome to the files. Like I said, anything I create for resources, I'm happy to share. There's some stuff that I use that's been created by other people, and I can't share that stuff. But anything that I create, I'm more than happy to share it. So, all right. So right now, I'm just going through and making sure that all of the rim windows on the bottom here that the masks are intact. Because I will be, hopefully tomorrow, I will be putting on a gray primer coat over the entire ship.
I was going to ask you, by the way, Stephen Martin is here. He says, evening crew.
Welcome.
Checking in. Are you going to, once that putty dries at the neckline, are you going to rescribe a line there or just leave it smooth?
So there is a bit of a step, like just the slightest bit of a step between the secondary hull and the saucer. So I'm leaving that, like I'm not making it smooth up to it. I'm leaving that because that gives a natural division line.
Perfect.
There.
Yeah,
I am having to rescribe the other side though. So, and I've got I just saw it somewhere on the bench here. I've got a nice little handy dandy scribing pen that works really well for that.
Yeah.
So
I'm gonna step away for a second, grab a drink.
What's that?
I'm just gonna step away for a second, grab a drink. Just let you know.
All right. So Steven's from Michigan. I'll be driving through Michigan on my way down to Winterfest. Crossing at Windsor. I am certainly not taking the ferry this year, no matter what my car tells me to do. It was fun. It was a fun experience, but I'm not doing it again. I don't know. I'm always a little hesitant to put my car on a ferry. Let's see. Vang says there are versions of the Enterprise with scribed panels and versions without. Which one are you doing? So this is based on the 6-foot model, and the 6-foot model did not have the chunky panel stuff going on. If you check out Motion Picture Miniatures, Wayne over at Motion Picture Miniatures, who will also be at Wonderfest this year, has been able to make new masters from molds taken from the 4-foot studio model, and so he's been able to refurbish those, and he's created a replica of the 4-foot model for one of the sci-fi museums in England, and they created all of the paneling on the surface of the 4-foot, and it's a little bit chunkier looking as well, but the 6-foot model was pretty much smooth, apart from some.
Are you talking about Motion Picture Miniatures?
Yeah. So
yeah, don't look close at that model though. It's not pretty. It did not come out well. It looks good from a distance, but man, don't get close to it.
Which one?
The 4-foot recreation that he did from the molds. Yeah, it's. I don't know if it was his molding process or something, or maybe it was the prototype. Maybe it was the actual molds, the original molds, but it's not good.
So the actual 4-foot model, there was down the secondary hull. So there was a really bad seam that went down the neck and then across secondary hull towards the panels, going backward towards the back of the ship. And when they cast it and they got that, they just figured, you know what? Nobody's going to see it on screen. We're just going to let it go. So, and there were a bunch of issues in the mold from that ship that he had to go through and fix in order to do the reproduction of it. So, I haven't seen it in person. I haven't. Well, obviously, I haven't.
Well, he posted a video, and then he posted a lot of the close-up pictures, and it's it's, I don't know. It doesn't look right. I mean, maybe that's exactly what the 4-footer looked like. I'm sure when you're on screen and you couldn't tell. I mean, I'm sure they've cleaned up a lot of things in today's technology to build ships like you have, but it doesn't. It's kind of a mess. Up close, you don't want to get close to it.
There are a lot of differences between the 4-footer studio model and the 6-foot studio model.
Oh, for sure. Oh, yeah, a lot.
Now I'm curious. I want to see. Give me a moment. I want to see if.
Let me see if I can find the pictures that I was talking about.
Because he's been posting a ton of the work in progress stuff.
Yeah.
And let's see. Let's go full screen. Let's turn my face off and share this. So these are These are final pictures. Final lighted pictures.
Yeah, that's because he's sending it to the National Film and Science Sci-Fi Museum in the UK, I think.
Yeah. So you should be able to see my mouse, right?
Yeah.
So on what he was working with, so from here down the edge of the neck here, and then across here, there was a really nasty seam. And if you look closely on some screen grabs from the show, where they've gone through and they've reprocessed the original film for the remastered,
right?
You can actually see the really nasty seam. So he's had to go through and rehabilitate the molds for it. But I mean, the final product, from everything I've seen, looks quite good. But what he had to work with.
Yeah, maybe that was some of the stuff. But I'm watching his video again.
What's this?
Yeah, that's not supposed to be there.
Again, this is a recreation of the 4-footer. So I wonder if there's stuff that the 4-footer had that that the others did not.
Oh, now you're gonna go make me look at all my 4-footers. I have tons of pictures of it.
Yeah.
Let me go see. Now I have to go look. Somebody, you've done me in. Oh, please. Let me get back to here. Ken is here. He said, "Good evening, everybody."
Good evening, Ken.
Ricardo asked before that, wasn't it easier to cross the border with the ferry?
It's a little out of the way.
Gotcha.
So it's oh, that's not what I wanted to do, but now I can look directly at you. Let's go back to the bench view here. I wanted to do that. That's exactly what I wanted to do. It takes longer to do the ferry route, and it's a very small ferry. So if you don't happen to fit on, you have to wait for the next one. And what happened with us is we got there just after the ferry left. So we had to wait for it to cross and then come back. So I'd much rather just go over the bridge at Windsor, Detroit. All right. Now, what was I doing last? What am I working on right now?
You were adding decals to your window coverings last time I was here.
Oh, right. I was checking all the rim windows for not decals, but for the masking.
Your window masking.
Yeah. Any of the masks that were sealed in with the primer are generally pretty good. But there are some I've had to replace over time that haven't stayed on quite so well. So looks like I've got all those taken care of. I masked up all of the dormer type windows on the HTM stream last night. I cut the masks and then put them on. So they are all good to go. Simply because of the space requirements, I don't use fiber a lot, but I have used fiber for the photon launchers, just because of the nature of it. And this is going to remain long until the thing is painted, and then I will cut it short once all the paint is done. I need to clean out. I will do that right now while I'm looking at it. Need to clean out just some of the putty. Not putty, but where I was water sanding and it dripped. And it transferred just a little bit of the putty material down into the dish. And I've got a little bit. I had touched up again, I'm not sure how much of that you can see, but I touched up the seam here for the deflector.
I'll be damned. There are RTS thrusters there.
There are?
Yes.
It's interesting. No matter how many times I've looked at the studio model photos and just gone over them for the various builds, I inevitably find something that I never noticed before.
The 6-footer doesn't have them. Interesting.
Oh, the 6-footer doesn't have them?
No. I'm looking at all my pictures of the 6-footer right there. Nope, it definitely does not have them.
But the 4-footer has them.
But if you look, and I can share a picture with you if you'd like.
Sure.
It's not a very great picture because these are all screen grabs. Hold on a second. Let's see, D10,000. It's very hard to see because the lighting was never there. You know, the back of the ship was never lit very well.
Yeah.
But I looked through a whole bunch of pictures, and in a couple pictures you can just kind of sort of make it out, but it's not definitive. Let me pop this out real quick.
Yvang says probably couldn't see all that detail in low resolution video from the TV show. Yeah.
Right, but they did remaster, and I have all the remasters. Where's 10,000? Oh, here it is. Where's the picture of the 10,000?
Jody says it has RCS on the front as well. Alex says he's homeward bound. Are you watching live stream while biking home again?
He does do that.
And says, and I just got a sea shanty stuck in my head. Okay. Well, don't share. I don't want one stuck in my head. Thank you.
Right.
Ivang says, I used fiber for the first time on my DS9 model for the tops of the pylons. It worked out pretty well. That's the type of location where it's probably fairly easy to use fiber because you're not trying to go around corners or anything like that. For nav lights on like Starships, I've pretty much exclusively gone to using the 0402 SMDs. Because the wires you can get anywhere, and then you can have the light source right there.
All right, I found a couple pictures. Let me present this tab.
And Jody says, check the front on either side of the deflector dish. Yeah, I think
those we have.
Yeah.
Those we have. But if I do this, share this, and bring this picture up, if you look just right, and you can't see my mouse, but you can just see it right there. Let me move this down. You can just see it right there. And it's really hard to see in that picture. So I have this picture, which you can, let me share this tab instead. And if you look right there, you can absolutely see the red box around it.
I can't see it through StreamYard.
You can just see it.
Here, send me the picture through Discord, and I'll pop it on directly here.
Maybe if I make it, no, that isn't full screen. No, does that help? No. Yeah, I'll send it to you. Yeah, give me a second.
Because you might even be able to see the seam on that.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. But this is the 4-footer, and if you look right, and this is going to be an ugly picture, but you can absolutely see the red box right there, and you can see the yellow inside of it. And you can't see my mouse, but yeah, there you can, right there. You can absolutely see it. And then I have another picture which just barely can you not see these?
No.
Really? But on this one, if you just see the edge of the red box right there too, just see it. You can just see it right there too. Let me see. I'll send you these 3 pictures.
Yeah. It also, I don't know if it's my studio light that's making it hard for me to see it.
Yeah. Let me send them to you, and then you can put them up.
Yeah.
And that may be a little easier.
Because I can full screen it.
Yeah. Yep.
And I can zoom in on it with the streaming software.
Let me get you in Discord here. Well, and I mean, you're basing yours on the 6-footers. You don't worry about it, but
yeah. Alex says, to ease your worries, Andrew, that is a negative on actually actively biking. Currently, I'm getting ready to leave, and sorry, Andrew, but I have the shanty old Maui in my head. Well, fortunately, I don't know that, so that will not get stuck in my head because we're homeward bound from the Arctic round rolling down the old Maui.
10,000.
Sure. Do not know it, but now that I'm thinking about things getting stuck in my head, I'm sure there's something that's going to pop in there. Let's see.
So I sent you all 3 of those pictures. The second one is where you can really see it. You got it really close, but you can see it.
Yeah, I'm just going to quickly download them here because then I can stick them straight in my streaming software. Please hold. Please stand by. Your call is important to us.
Jody says, I see it. Let's see what else. I got the sheet shanty. We did that one. You got the fiber. Did that one. Jody sees it.
Yeah, it could also. It could just be that I've got a studio light here shining in my face. So, all right, those should be downloaded. And I did not mean to open Minecraft.
Yes, you did.
There's been a new update, and I really want to play, but I don't have time. I have to get this ship done. Let's throw these. Oh, I need to bring my streaming software back up first, and let's bring these in. And let's see. Doop, doop. Let's see what I can do here.
So that one, you can easily see it on the left side. If you kind of zoom in on the left lower pylon, you can just barely see the edge of the red box around it.
Yeah, one moment, please.
Now you can almost barely see it there too.
Yeah, I'm just gonna turn my studio light off for a minute.
And isn't it great? You can see how when they do film like color grading and all that with the studio lighting and all that, you can see how washed out the red and green gets, but you can still just tell that they're red and green on the navigation lights. The red gets really washed out.
It's clearer in my streaming software, but gets hard to see in once it gets over into StreamYard.
Yeah, but you can just make out that one on the right. I think you can just make out the one, but that one, if you zoom in on the bottom right, that's a good shot of it. You can absolutely see the red box. You can see the yellow box. You can see the navigation lights aren't on.
Can you see it on through StreamYard?
Yeah. Even when you zoom in, at least I can see it. Let me make sure it's showing up on YouTube too. I can double check that for you as well. Oh yeah, it's working on YouTube too. So if you go to the right,
that's not what I wanted to do.
Oh God, what are you stretching it?
Reset all. No, I accidentally stretched by mistake.
Yeah, don't do that. And go to the right, you'll absolutely see it. That's not it. Oh, you're stretching again. Oh.
Okay, let's not hit the wrong control. It's this one I want.
There you can see it right there. Red box, yellow square inside of it.
Right there?
Yeah, you can see it.
Barely see it.
Barely see it. Yeah, well, I mean, in every shot of it.
Yeah, you can't see my mouse on here, but
no. If you click on whatever window you're in, sometimes you can see the mouse, but it depends on how you're sharing inside.
And those lights are not on.
Yeah, I said, and the rear navigation lights aren't on either. You can tell which episode.
Yeah. I'm just trying to see if you can see the ugly seam.
Right. I know which seam you're talking about too. It just goes right down the secondary hull.
Yep.
I have some other different shots of that. You can see it. Ken says he can see it. Jody says he can see it. That one, it's easier to see the left one, but if you zoom in, you can see it. It's definitely there. I never knew. Now I've learned something on your stream, Andrew.
Oh, great.
So you can see it there.
Yeah.
So the 4-footer had RC structures in the back of the pylon. I don't know what you call that. What do you call that? The flat. It's the Enterprise's poop deck.
Yeah, well, you can see it. You can see it on this one here. You can see it.
Yeah.
There. But then the lights on the back are not colored.
No, they are. They are red and green, but the way that they shoot the lighting and the way that's colored when they do like film grading and stuff, you really lose the color on the red and green navigation lights. It does not come across well.
So what we don't have are good photos of the studio model for the 4-footer studio model.
I have some of the actual 4-footer,
Yeah.
but there wasn't a lot that were taken.
Well, I'm disappointed in how much reference material was shot while the show was on.
Yeah,
Or at
I mean,
least that's
I
been
have,
made available.
yeah, there's not a lot there's not a lot. I have a great, you want to see something cool? You want to see the 4-footer and the 6-footer compared to each other? They're vastly different shapes.
Yeah, I've seen that one because they've also got I think they've got the neck for doing the saucer separations or something in that photo, and they've got the
no. This is a straight on front shot.
Oh, okay.
Let me pull this up here as I'm ordering pizza on the other screen.
Well, I think actually I've got a little bit more water sanding to do over here.
Here you go. I'm gonna make it full screen for a second. There you go.
Yeah, that is right there.
That's no worries. But you can see the difference between the 6-footer, which is on top, and how the shape of the saucer changed a little bit, how the windows changed. You know, when they added 10 forward, there's the different shape of the deflector dish.
Yeah.
They definitely changed things between the 6-footer and the 4-footer.
Yeah, that's why you have to make decisions on what version you're going with, and you can even tell that they've clearly not colored the bizards on the 6-foot, and they've colored them on the 4-foot. The where the neck joins is chunkier on the 4-foot.
Yep. And you can tell it's a 4-foot because it's got the 10 forward windows, right?
Yeah.
So you can just see how different, you know, they made the rim a little thicker. And it's funny because if you look, you can actually see that besides the fact that the 4-footer had all the panel detailing.
Yeah. Well, the pylon shape is different too.
Yeah, the pylon shapes, it was more rounded and not flat. You know, I mean, it's an interesting picture.
Yeah. Certainly. We've got 19 people joining us right now. So if you're joining us, let us know you're here. Let me know who I'm talking to. Leave a comment.
Alex says, was the 4-footer blown up when the D crashed, or was that all CGI? No. They made a secondary hull section and blew that up. And the saucer that crashed on Viridian 3 was a 12-foot saucer, which I've actually touched in person.
You've touched it?
Different. It was on a display at a museum, and I went up and touched it.
Wow.
They made a 12-foot saucer section specifically for that scene and dragged it through the forest, which was all done outside.
Yeah, they made a whole like a whole forest diorama.
Yep. They made a whole diorama. And you know what most people don't know is that at the very front edge, underneath the saucer rim, there was a copper pipe all the way around the edge, and it had little pipes sticking out of it, and that was designed to blow the dirt up as it was crashing. And I saw when I saw the actual 12-foot saucer, and I'm like, what the hell is this copper pipe? And I'm like, oh, that's what they used to blow the dirt to make it look like it was hitting harder than it was.
Yeah, have you seen the footage of them crashing the saucer?
Yeah. There's a documentary on it somewhere.
Yeah. All right. Okay, so
that was practical, Alec. They didn't have the CGI like we have today back then. So
yeah, you can go back and see the documentaries on YouTube on how they did that, and the it's quite likely that I don't know if they did it for the Generations secondary hull explosion, but I know that they would use AMT kits for some of this stuff, just for things that were far away and being blown up.
So he posted a link to Astrocentia in Discord. I'm looking at That's the big saucer getting crashed. Yes, the 4-footer. That's the one for TNG for all good things. Yes, yes, yes. 6 foot from Christie's.
Yeah, until Todd took his photos, we were relying almost exclusively on those Christie's auction photos.
Yeah,
for reference.
you know what's surprising? I haven't seen anybody that has a set of photos like that. Everybody was the Christie's auction, which was not lit very well, and there's only like what, maybe 10 pictures or 12 pictures.
There's a good chunk of them.
Yeah.
Now I'm curious how many there are.
Oh, that rear picture absolutely shows the, yeah, you can see it there. The rear picture of the 4-footer on Cynthia does show the RCS there on the pylon.
Let's see, let me.
God, these are very low quality pictures. Gross.
2, 4, 6.
Let's see. Yeah, we checked that. Everybody's saying hi, 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 hi. And Jody says you can clearly see it. Yeah, yeah. They're not great pictures, but.
Where is this that you're finding pictures?
He's from the Essentia, from Atrasentia. Let me see if I can find maybe. I'm going to send this picture to you, just like we did. This is the picture he's talking about. Oh, I got to drag it here first.
So now, just in case anybody's wondering what I'm doing, I'm starting the process of masking the remaining items that need to be covered for paint. So I just did, you can't really see them here, but inside there's 4 LEDs covered with solar res for the deflector. So I've just covered that section with some tape. I've got to protect the lighting on the Bizards, which I guess you can't see on this side because of the way I've got the stand, but I've got to protect that from paint. And I will also protect, I don't need to worry about the back wall, the kind of the divider wall that I made between the lights for the Bizards and the other side here. Because it's behind the light, it doesn't really gonna help with any diffusion or refraction or anything like that. I'm gonna have to tape off the LEDs so they don't get any paint on them. I'm gonna have to tape off the chiller grills, and then I've got all of the navigation lights that I have to put a dollop of liquid mask on. So with a toothpick, I will put a dollop of liquid mask to protect the navigation lights, and then it'll be ready for first coat paint, which is exciting.
That is exciting.
All right.
All right, everything. Hi, hi, hi. Jody says, all right, I sent you that picture. And you can see them. You can see both of them, actually.
Oh, you sent?
Yeah, I sent it to your Discord.
Okay.
I like those people. They should go join the Discord. They want to see that. Yeah, it's probably easier for you to pull the picture up.
Yeah. Please stand by. There we go.
And if you zoom in on the back, you can see both RCS thrusters there.
You can certainly see them there.
Yeah. Both sides.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? We learned something today, Andrew.
Yeah. I'm trying to move the picture around on StreamYard and not in my streaming software.
Oh,
look how chunky that neck is, and the dish. The dish is a completely different shape.
No, it's just it's a big fat thing from the front. Looks crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was much sleeker. The 6-footer was much sleeker and not so top down bulky.
And I think those pylons are not symmetrical. It's curved way more on the left side there than on the right side.
Yeah, the left side. Well, that also might be the angle because of the if you look at the top of the neck, you know that angled section where it's the base of the base of the nacelle.
True. My pylons looked misaligned on camera.
Yeah, it's a very strange. I think it's a camera thing, but it definitely looks like the right one is straight up and the right one curves in. But I think that's a camera thing.
Yeah, I like my impulse engine better.
Well, that's the nice thing about doing models is you can combine. You know, like I always tell people, the fan home one is a kind of a amalgamation of all of the models, right? It has the smooth surface of the 6-footer, but it has the window layout of the 4-footer, and it's very strange trying to.
Wait, the 4-footer has that nasty window layout in the secondary hull?
Yeah, no, that's just a fan home being stupid.
You would have thought they would have fixed that. Like,
well, you know, the self-proclaimed, you know, expert on Star Trek because he did the Star Trek files, approved that, and so did Paramount. So that's on them. Okay, let's see. Jody says, "Well, you better put him in, Andrew." LOL.
Well, no, because that's the 4-footer, and I'm replicating as much.
Honestly, I think you'd confuse people because they'd be like, "Those aren't there." Be like, "Oh yeah." You know, honestly, it makes sense that they would be there because the only RCS in the back is at the top of the nacelles, right? So it would, you know, logically, it would make sense that you would have RCS thrusters there.
Well, maybe that was a retcon because they realized that it didn't make sense.
I bet it wouldn't surprise me, being that the 4-footer was built much later than the 6 and the 2-footer.
But they look like they're on the side and don't wrap, like on the edge and don't wrap around.
No, they're just on the edge, pointing straight back. And I mean, it would seem to make sense because if you have a set on the front on either side of the deflector, that you would have a set in the back instead of just at the top of the nacelles. Because if you think you're in space and if your center of gravity is engineering section and you thrust out the top of the nacelles, you're going to go nose down. So maybe somebody thought of that. Never used them, but we thought of it. Ken says, my dad always said you should try to learn something new every day, or something every day. Yep, I agree. We learned a thing today. Now I have more arguments of what's the 4-footer and what's the 6-footer. Alex says, I bet it really hurts the guy to build these models only to see one get destroyed. No, I think that's part of model making. I bet you they enjoy it, actually. When they make like a pyro model that's designed to be blown up.
Yeah.
Like the nacelle in that the poker episode.
Cause and effect.
Yeah. I love that episode. I don't like how the ship stops spinning when it explodes, but that always caught me off guard. But it's kind of cool to see the nacelle get hit and blow. And Jody says they wrap around a bit. You can see it in a picture from the bottom. Yeah, they do. Just barely. Okay.
I need this strip to be just.
Yvang says everybody's a critic. Oh yeah, you can't make anybody happy. Make yourself happy. That's all that matters. Alex says, so Andrew, with your inner lights installed, are you going to make your language officer and science officer try to send a song through Timefold or once on the original Enterprise enough? Okay. Yeah, I don't know.
No Klingon pop, please.
Yeah. Yvang says, one good thing about the fan home models, it did make the Enterprise more accessible. Casual builders pricey. No paint or glue or mods or lights to work out. Yeah, I mean,
no paint, no glue, no mods, no accuracy, you know.
Yeah, but you know, it's one of those things where I always look at it as where else can you get a 2-foot model of the Enterprise that is 90% good? You know, the windows are wonky and things like that, but I always say the 99% of the people you show it to are gonna be like, oh my god, cool, it's a really big Enterprise, I recognize it. Instead of, you know, that seems in the wrong place. There should be 4 windows there instead of 3. It's just the rivet counters, most of the people that you see mine just think it's great, and then that's wonderful. They don't even notice the windows were wonky. I do, but that's different. Jody says, and this is perfect for you, Andrew. He remembers your video where you added all the tiny greeblies in the Enterprise that no one even knows about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although I don't have any good references of the bottom to be able to know where any of those things are.
The bottom what? The saucer?
Yeah.
Or the Enterprise? I tried to take pictures underneath, but I had to crawl around on the floor.
Yeah. It's hard to get good pictures.
That thing was like 4 feet off the ground on a box. And I pretty much shared all the pictures I could get my hands on. So
yeah. So you can only do what you've got reference for.
That's right.
And I mean, also, when it comes to those details, how often are people closely examining the bottom of the model?
They're not. Devang says, are you going to have a button on your control panel to reroute power from the deflector dish?
Basically, the clients can do anything they want. The control is all going to be through iPad or Android device. And they can basically configure it any way they want.
Blair's here.
Welcome, Blair. How's it going? You can configure it any way you want.
He says, last weekend I was on Picard's Bridge. Very cool, but I'm more excited about this model. Yeah, they're doing Universal Fan Nights. And they're letting people onto the bridge they rebuilt for the Picard Season 3. It's very cool. How was it, Blair? Shark says, as Lou says, if you're looking at the bottom of the model, there's something wrong with you, LOL. Huh. That's Lou.
So very cool if you can get yourself onto that bridge set. Although as cool as it would be, I would be so disappointed that they changed it for safety regulations.
Yes. Yep. I heard about that. They had to redo the ramps for ADA. They were too steep. So it changes the whole shape of the bridge. He did say it was unreal. The rails sucked, but it's pretty minor. Yeah, man, could you imagine if they just let people in there do whatever they want? Ugh, they'd be torn up in no time flat. I'm not going to read that, Alec. It's kind of off topic. We're getting way out there. Oh, hey, George mentioned me back. What did he say?
So Blair, primer's going on this thing tomorrow. Then if all goes well, base coat color is going on the next day, on Monday. And here's the base coat color. The darker of the blues going on first. Jody says, I found a picture of the bottom. It looks like there are circular details on the bottom of the pylons near the curves. Okay. I'll check it out. Blair says, I talked with someone on the crew and there was a real concern about set damage. Rails served two purposes.
I believe it.
And he says, can't wait. And says, I'll get my butt on LCARs. Yeah. I'm not concerned about that for Wonderfest, Blair. It's going to be, it'll just be on the metal stand, bolted to a wood base, with the Raspberry Pi breadboard and everything under a black cloth, because I don't need to worry about the base for Wonderfest.
He says no rush.
Yeah.
And Alec would like to know if there's 4 lights.
Always. So there was the Picard. You know how there's the big trend going around right now that they do like a action figure in a package kind of a thing for different things.
Oh yes.
So there was Picard, and it showed it. So it had 4 lights in the package, but on the package it says includes 5 lights.
Oh, that's awesome. Did it have his flute and his teacup?
Yep.
Excellent.
Yep.
In his Borg laser face?
Had the teacups.
Excellent. Yuvang says, I got to sit in the Picard's chair on the TNG bridge when it was in Las Vegas. Yep. As a kid growing up on TNG, it was something I never could forget. I went to that was the Star Trek experience at the Las Vegas Hilton. I probably had been there 3 different times, including one time I went backstage and got to see the Klingons putting on their makeup and how they did the transporter effect when you first walked in, which was very cool, by the way. And it was that was something else. And going on the bridge and then seeing the motion vehicles at the end, and you get to walk around the bridge. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I miss that. It's too bad it's not still around.
So our amusement park that everybody goes to, because there's one that everybody in Ontario goes to, called Canada's Wonderland. At one point, it was owned by Paramount. It was Paramount Canada's Wonderland. And so because it was owned by Paramount, they had Star Trek characters walking around the park. So you had Vulcans and Romulans and Ferengi and Klingons all walking around the park.
Yeah. Well, Blair said that some of the fan uniforms in LA were unreal. Vegas was top notch. Yeah, you can still go to the Hilton, and there's a gift shop now, I think, or something, in the old Quark's bar, and a lot of the fixtures are still on the walls, so you can still see the remnants of Quark's bar. It's too bad, but I know they sold off a lot of the set pieces and things, and people bought them up to. I know there was one person that got some of the parts because they wanted to rebuild the bridge. They got some of the parts that were thrown out from Paramount. They got some of the bridge parts from the Las Vegas attraction, like I think it was the con and nav stations.
So Blair, you're confirmed attending Wonderfest, correct?
Yeah, Jody shared a really nice picture of the bottom of the 4-footer.
Oh, yeah? Where is it?
I will send it to you, or maybe he can send it to you, but it's a Flickr photo. Let me grab it here. Da, 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 da. Where are you at? Where are you at, Canadian Starships?
I'm right here. I'm here in Canada.
Hanging out, doing your thing.
Yep.
I will share this with you. There you go.
Monday night, I so desperately needed to get work done, but I couldn't because we had an election going on, and I'm kind of an election night junkie. I couldn't help be glued to the TV.
It's actually got quite a few pictures at the bottom here.
All right, let's download that. And throw it into vMix. Oh, ha. Might as well throw this in at the same time. And by this, I mean that. So it's the teapot, the flute, and it says includes 5 lights.
I love it. This guy actually has some other pictures I'm going to steal. Sorry, buddy.
There we go. Now do we know that this is the
It sure looks like it from these other pictures, yeah.
Studio 4-footer?
Yeah. Inspect, link, steel link.
The escape hatches are so pale on this one.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that could be the lighting.
See what other kind of pictures you have, buddy. I don't know who you are, but that definitely looks like the 4-footer. It looks molded, panel lines, crappy water slide decals. The facades are actually red. Yeah.
Just grabbing those other ones you sent me here.
That's all right. I'm looking for more while you're sharing those.
I wonder what the red is on it on the rim of the saucer there. On the one photo you sent.
I don't know, but I'm gonna steal this one too. It's a side shot. God, it's so dirty, this model. Woo! Inspect. Thank you. They don't like you to, grab these pictures from Photo Bucket, but there's always a way. Always. There you go. That's the 4 pictures. 4 pictures he has, the 4-footer. I like the last one I sent you. There's a rubber band holding the back of the engineering section together.
Is that what that is?
There's some kind of wire. I don't know if that's part of the display or something, but
I figured it was probably like something that they were hanging it with.
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, what's that red?
That's lighting. That has to be lighting. There's a red light over there, like an exit sign or something. That has to be a reflection. Let me catch up on here. We got that. Todd will be going to the canyon. Oh, Grand Canyon, staying at Thunderbird Lodge. Okay, good. Blair says, not yet. It's 50-50, but more likely yes. For Wonderfest, I assume.
Yeah.
And then he's asking Ken if Ken is going to go. I don't think Ken's going to make it this year. Maybe. Look how dirty it is. Well, there's a story behind the whole 4-footer, right? That it disappeared after production. And a lot of people believed it was hanging over a stove, like a grease stove at a Hard Rock for a while. Because people had pictures of it up there. And it got completely just grossed out milk. A bag of milk. That it just got covered in grease fumes and garbage. And then it disappeared again. And then it just randomly showed up on a producer's couch at Paramount. This lady went into her office. She was like a prop master or something. She went into her office and was just sitting on the couch in her office.
Wow.
And she's like, oh my God, is that what I think it is? And now it is safely back in the archives. But
until they sell it, until Paramount.
Yeah, sure. When they need money again. Yvang says some of those nebulas are dusty. They're pretty dusty. Yeah, that's true. Ken says, sorry, I won't be able to make it this year. Hopefully, maybe next year, Ken. We'd love to meet you. And Jody says, if you look at the string, you can see red lighting from somewhere else. Yeah, I think it's a reflection. Yeah, I grabbed tons and tons of screenshots of the 4-footer and the 6-footer from the show. And there's, some they got very close to the model. So sadly, you can pick out some of the inconsistencies. Let me see it. I'm going to go back here. 4-foot captures. Let me see if I can find a top-down view of the engineering section and see if we can find that scene you're talking about. Let's see. Forward.
I think Wayne posted a picture that you can see it on it.
Man, you really don't want to get close. This is a very close shot. But I don't see a seam. There's an ugly mold line. Here, I'll send this one to you too. This is a very, very close shot of the back of the neck. That's from the show.
I must have shut down Discord. Have to start it up again here. I really need to get Discord in my
right underneath the Main impulse engine. You see anything in that shot? No.
Let's see what you sent. Yeah, it's on the other. The seam is on the other side.
Oh, is it? All right.
Yeah, but yeah. Oh, you can see it. You can see it. Here, I'm gonna throw it up on my secondary display.
All right.
And then that way I can actually get my mouse on it.
Yeah, Blair, I agree. I think if they ever sold the 4-foot model, I mean, what did the 6-footer sold for what, 5 or 550? 550,000, $500,000?
So it came down here, and then I'm pretty sure this is the.
Yeah, I'll have to see if I can look. Look at that terrible mold underneath the engine, though. Look at that joint. Oh, oof! Don't look too close, man.
Yeah.
Did you add those little greeblies under the saucer, under the? Yeah, those.
There?
Yeah.
Yes, I did.
Look at you.
In fact, some of the greebles are not present.
Well, I remember this is the 4-footer.
Yeah. Let me grab.
Oh God, look at this one. Look at the textures, like the seam across the seam between the two sections. And this was the 4-footer. This was literally one piece. Like they didn't.
Another one.
Yeah, I sent you another one. These are all the screen grabs of the ship from the show. Dorsal, that's bottom. No, that's top. Dorsal.
Yeah, you can see all the panel lines on that one. There's some nasty stuff above the impulse deck.
Right. But I mean, these are things that, yours is not going to have. You know what I mean? Like yours is going to look really good. But you don't realize when you're watching the show, your mind just doesn't pick up those things. You don't think about it as a model. You want to believe it's a huge ship. But when you freeze frame it and you can put it in your head and you can see it up close, you're like, ooh. Stamps is here. He says they never put a bathroom in either. Yeah, you never saw anybody pooping in Star Trek.
Look at the scene. Look at the.
That's what I'm talking about. Look at that.
Right there. Oh, I was talking about this over here.
No, I meant where the two halves, the two sections came together. Like that joint is just not.
Well, I've had to do some pretty extensive work on this area on the Helios model because they don't line up. Like it doesn't line up properly. And there's absolutely nothing tab wise here.
Mm-hmm. Right, because on the 6-footer, that tab extends up onto the top of the saucer deck.
Yeah, it's the saucer is cut out there on the 6-foot. So what I've done is I've removed the tab, and I'm just scribing in the little section there. But also, it looks like the arboretum is further back, closer to the neck.
Well, I mean, this is the only one where it's lit. I have some other really good shots if you want to see them, but we don't have to. I don't want to take some time, but let me see what else. Let's see, that's the Dreadnought. That's forward shots. Let's see if I can find some port shots of that. Oh, you said it was on the starboard side, right?
It's on the starboard side, yeah.
Do I have some starboard side shots of the neck? I do, but they're not very good. Not to where you can see the seam.
Oh, I do officially have base coat on the model. It just happens to be the housings for the Bizards.
Right. It's almost like they purposely avoid shooting that angle.
I wonder why.
Mm-hmm. Oh, here's one. Here's a good one. Here, I'll send this to you. Wonder if we can catch the seam. Look at the little greebly details inside the sensor band. Huh. See what you get when you get close up. Blair says, Andrew, I sent you more pics of L cars behind tactical. They were nice and crisp. Facebook messaged you.
Oh,
Blair says the Christie's auction, I thought close to 1 million Canadian. Yeah, I swear it was $500,000 US, but I don't know what the conversion was at the time. Now Alex says, okay, I'm about to start riding my bike. All right, well, don't be sending messages. Just listen. That's about the best shot of the starboard neck I can find. of the shots that I have. Oh, there you go. Is that from the Picard bridge?
Yeah.
Nice. Nice. Oh, how cool. They had to redo the horseshoe for that as well.
Well, because the height difference.
Yeah, because of the ramps, they had to redo the ramps, and then they had to rebuild the horseshoe too.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, I sent you that one on Discord. I don't know about
you can't. The nasty seam's a little bit further back from what's going here.
Maybe I can see that on. Let me go dorsal. I have these all separated by the angle. Dorsal side, dorsal shot, dorsal. That's a perfect shot, but I don't know if it's close enough quality. And it's on the dark side.
You have to go to the dark side to get it?
Probably. Yeah, you can't see it. Wrong universe, man. All right, now let me go to my 6-foot captures. Oh, well, I didn't capture a whole lot of 6. I was perfectly going for the 4-footer, other than all the pictures I took of the real one, of the model, which I already shared with you. So.
Blair, this thing is so big and heavy now that I've had to reorganize the shop to accommodate being able to get around to both sides of it.
I just realized I did not take a whole lot of pictures of the underside, did I?
Nope.
I have one picture under the fantail, which is mediocre. One picture under the... Well, I have the seam of the neck. The way the security was leering at me, I didn't really want to crawl underneath.
Yeah.
I do have the underside of where the mount is, underneath the belly. Well, there's a better picture of the fantail. You can see all the little stickers. But I mean, I shared all these with you. You already have these.
Trust me, I reference them all the time.
Oh, I think my pizza's here. Very exciting. I'm right back.
All right. Let's see. Jody says, did you see the bumps around the edges of the Buzzard housings? I will have to take another look. And then Stamp says, what color is the ship going to be painted? Well, the color that's on the hollow resin support arm that Helios originally thought was going to be enough to support the model. I'm using it as a paint mule. So that's the base color. Now that is the darker of the two main blues that go down on the ship. So if I pull the studio model reference from Todd here, let me just go into my reference folder here and just grab any old shot of it here, which sent it behind me. Sent it on the screen behind me, but let me go over here. You'll notice that this section here, these large the large Aztec panel details, they are that dark kind of what's it called? It is a French blue. So that's the lighting here is awful, but that is that kind of darker blue tone there. Alex says, question also, I stopped at a light for this. Does anyone know what part of the Enterprise C was used and where it is on the D, the Strange New Worlds theme mentioned an old tradition of a piece of the original be used on the next ship bearing the name. That would not. So I understand the reference there, but that would not have happened. The Enterprise C to the Enterprise D, because the Enterprise C was either destroyed or captured by the Romulans, so it would not have been available for Starfleet to incorporate a portion of it into the new one. Jody says duck egg blue. Yeah, so the dark one is called, at least the color for the paint I'm using is French blue, I think. Let me go take a look. Let me look. It is a French blue is what it's called. And the nice thing is I actually have I can get it in a spray can, which given that it's going to go on the entire ship, is going to save me a ton of time, because airbrushing the entire surface of that would take forever. Shark says, Alec, that reference was about the NX-01 to the Enterprise. No letter. Yeah. Definitely a retcon. Definitely not something that was always intended to be part of the mythos of the show. But definitely a cool idea. But definitely would not have happened with the Enterprise C to D, because, again, it was destroyed or captured by the Romulans. Hence how we got Sela. There we go.
Well, and you have to remember that this was painted differently than the original model, because they repainted it for generations, because it was being shot on for a movie. Because in TV, the colors, if you actually look at the pictures of the TV model,
they're gray and green.
Oh God, it's green and it's gold and it's all over the place. So you have to go, are you going for screen accurate of what your eyes remember seeing on TV, or are you going for studio accurate of what the model looked like when they were shooting it? I think that screen accurate probably makes a lot more sense, right?
So, and the issue with this with the Generations version, is that they went through all the effort to completely strip and repaint the ship, but then they reused footage directly from the TV show anyway, which looked horrible.
Right, but it was two different colors.
Yeah.
Because when they repainted it more of what your eyes were used to seeing. Because they were shooting film. No, they were shooting movie. And for the TV show, it was very different. Yeah, Yvang says, I always thought it was gray on the TV show. Right. But when you see the actual model in person, it was lots of grays and blues and even some greens.
Now, in Generations, the blue, like when they used the refreshed 6-foot studio model in the shots, the blues definitely came through, but not when they were rehashing old footage, though, because they rehashed old footage for the saucer separation. There was just the one scene right before stellar cartography where they just blatantly reused old stock footage that they took. That was stock footage of the 6-foot model, but it was the stuff that they originally filmed that what was it? Image G, I think, filmed originally.
Yeah, like here, I'll send you this. This was a picture of the 6-footer very early on, back when it was being produced. I have some of the others. I have some other studio shots. Because for people that didn't know, most of the time they shot the model upside down.
One moment, please.
Like in this picture, it's right side up, but if you actually look closely, you'll notice that the picture is actually inverted because it was so heavy and it was so hard to use that they mounted it underneath and shot it upside down.
Oh yeah, that's the
duck egg blue and the duck egg green and the different colors that people are. That's what it used to look like in the very beginning before it got repainted. And I have one more I'll send you.
Yeah, the mounting point on that was right behind the shuttle bay. There's a panel right behind the shuttle bay that is literally screwed on there.
Oh yeah, and if you close in the pic, even you can still see it in the pictures I sent you. Are the original? I got the ones I took.
Oh, actually, yeah, the panel. Sorry, there I am talking about it, but the panel is right here. This is where the panel
it's missing. Mm-hmm. They
so
could remove the bridge. That was a mounting point. They could remove it behind the shuttle bay was a mounting point in the bottom center of the, which are the other pictures I just sent you.
Yeah.
You can see the bottom mounting point. Blair asked, any idea of the total weight? Like, if you look at that picture, look at the ground. This picture is actually upside down. Because they mounted the model upside down and filmed it upside down.
Yeah.
It's just easier.
This one's really washed out with the lighting.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, somebody color corrected that too, so they probably color corrected off the ship, making the ship white. And that's flash. So the flash is going to blow it all blue.
So Blair, are you asking about the total weight of the model? Like the one in the shop here?
Yeah, I think he's talking about the one you're building. Yeah.
I haven't gotten it on a scale yet, but we are at the point where I could get a decent idea.
Can you imagine trying to work with that model? 6 foot, obnoxious.
That's why they moved to the 4-footer.
I know.
To make it a little easier for filming. Yeah.
Yes, he is talking about the model you're building.
Yeah, I don't know yet. I will, because I've got it upside down right now for working on the underside. So when I get it back on the stand for painting, like back on its right side up for painting, I'll get it on a scale and see if I can find out for you.
Alex says, I pulled over because another question popped up.
Okay.
Why is the 6 and the 4-footer set pieces different anyway? I can understand diminished detail, but completely different layouts. That's a whole story in itself. Stamps then asked, why did they make a 4-footer, and then a 6-footer? I would have just went to a 6-footer. 6-footer came first, along with a 2-footer.
Yeah, the 2-footer was used for any of those shots where it's approaching space dock and it's like further away shot.
Yeah. If in the warp sequences, when you see the ship go to warp, before the flash, it's the 6-footer. After the flash, it's the 2-footer. Because it was easier to get far away shots with the 2-footer. 6-footer was so big that they couldn't back out of the studio far enough to make it small enough. So they built the 6-footer and 2-footer in the beginning in 1986 or whatever it was. That's what they started with, a 6-foot with a bunch of detail they could use for close-ups, and then the 4-footer, and the 6-footer could separate. The 2-footer didn't separate. The 4-footer came in season 3 because the 6-footer was so hard to work with, and if they didn't need the shot of it separating, the 4-footer would make more sense, and they had more money in the 3rd season.
Yeah.
So they built the 4-footer, and it was extensively used for any new shots after that. It's a little confusing though when you watch a show and they're reusing shots from the 6-footer and the 4-footer in the very next shot. Sometimes it's blatant. But yeah, the 4-footer came along later. It was more detailed. It had surface texture. It was easier to work with. I think it was easier, as years went by, they found better ways to light it. But things changed. The shape of the nacelles changed. The shape of the saucer changed. They added lighting for 10 forward because 10 forward wasn't a thing before that. And became such an integral part of the show. They added the windows and everything. 6-footer didn't have them yet.
Yeah. Well, 10 forward was added to accommodate Whoopi Goldberg.
Mm-hmm. Well, and
it took them a long time to realize that she was actually serious about wanting to appear on the show.
Right.
They didn't think she was serious because they didn't think that she would actually want to be on TV.
Evang says, "Wow, look at that! The actual bridge separates, revealing an extra cargo bay." Yep.
Well, you know what they say: the bridge modules are interchangeable.
In canon, they said the bridge model could be ejected.
I always thought the bridge should, the bridge can be taken out and replaced.
Mm-hmm.
But I always thought that the bridge should be ejectable with its own set of engines.
Sure, like the captain's yacht.
Because how many of the bridge crew are getting to escape pods?
Right.
The bridge should be its own escape pod. Okay, give me a moment. I am going to take a quick bio break because I think I'm going to go extra long tonight.
Oh, good. I'll tell you model stories.
Yep. Be right back. Remember, E for everyone.
Of course. No, I was always fascinated with the studio models. Hold on, I finished my eating. And so I started to learn the differences between the 4-footer and the 2-footer and the 6-footer. It always amazed me when people got so upset about the fan home one, the Eagle Moss one. That's effectively a 2-foot model. And if they offered people, we'll give you an exact replica of the 2-foot model from that was used in the show, people would have flipped out. The 2-foot model was so bad because back then they didn't have LEDs. Like big 6-foot model was lit with neon tubes inside the saucer. It got hot. It was using high voltage. The people that worked on it were always getting shocked. The smaller one didn't have lighting inside. They used mirrored tape in all the windows to make them look lit up, and they used creative lighting to make it look like the windows were lit. You can also tell when they were using the 2-footer in shots in the show because they had to use grain of wheat bulbs for like navigation lights, things like that, and they are so out of scale when you watch the show back. They're so blatantly large that it looks obnoxious. And you had the paint job wasn't great, the molding wasn't great, they had reflective tape windows, they had these big huge bulbs for the navigation lights. It was meant to be shot really far away, and it served its purpose on the show. So when people complain that the fan home isn't studio accurate, I'm like, man, if somebody gave you the 2-foot studio model, you'd be like, really? This is it? So I don't know. I think for what you get, yes, it's expensive. Yes, it's not perfect, but you get a really nice model of a very large size for a decent amount of price, and you get to build it. Let's see. Blair says, motion picture managers, how do you get the 4-foot molds? I don't know. Does he explain how he got the molds? But he might know somebody.
I think that they were acquired by the museum and provided to him by the museum.
Perfect. Even better.
I think, but don't quote me on that. You'll have to ask Wayne at Wonderfest.
Yvang says, in 10 forward, save Picard in the episode Starship Mine.
Well, just for the fact that it's the most forward-facing place on the ship, he could have gone to 9 forward.
That's true.
So is Jody still here?
I don't know. I haven't seen him say anything since 7:37. Said he's talking about Duck Egg Blue. Jody, you still here?
He was talking about stopping to see Dash on the way, but
right.
I was just curious if Dash was planning on coming to Wonderfest.
Jody says he is here. I think Dash said he had farming work he couldn't step away from.
Yeah, I guess if especially if you've got animals, it can be really hard to
yeah, I think he said he's got stuff going on, and it's just the timing is bad.
That's too bad.
Well, and his mother just passed away, so he's working with all that stuff too. This may not be a good year for Howard to make it. But it'd be fun to see some pictures of those two together. It could be interesting.
Yeah.
Make a video, Jody. Unveiling the dash. Get rid of that.
So who did you end up meeting for the first time at Wonderfest last year, Todd?
For the first time?
Yeah.
Well, Nick Tate, but I had no idea who he was. I just asked him if he wanted a cheeseburger. I never watched Space 1999, but I guess he was the star of it, and he is routinely at Wonderfest.
I mean, not like celebrities, but like just people.
I met oh God, what's his name? Trevor from Trek Yards? No, not Trevor.
Stuart.
Stuart, yes. Stuart was there. I met him. I had met just this last year because I had never met Norm from Tested until I met him at Wonderfest 2 years ago, and then ran into him again last year. Who else? A lot of these people I met the first time around. I met like Paul Bodenkirk from is that Bodenkirk? I think that's right, from Paragraphics. And
who from HTM did you meet for the first time?
Let's see. In person?
Yeah.
God, I think I met everybody. I don't think there was new people last year, was there? Well, I think Jordan's first year was last year. Yeah, Jordan wasn't there the first time. I think that was the first time I met Jordan in person. Yeah, I feel like that's it. Because Ian was there the first year and Donnie was there the first year. This is the first year for Buck, so that'll be good. Oh, there you go. That looks good.
These seams were a pain to deal with, but I think they've turned out fairly well. We'll see how they turn out with paint. It's always hard to know for sure how the seams have turned out until you get paint down.
Did you already paint the copper in there?
No, I want to do that after everything else is done because I don't want to be putting the copper down and then trying to mask it off for painting and stuff like that. So I want to put that on near the end.
Right.
I still need to figure out exactly how I'm going to do that. So there's the deflector. That was quite a gap there. There's some of the remolding work I've had to do. It might need a little bit more. It'll definitely need a little bit more refinement. I still have to water sand this one down because I put some of the perfect plastic putty on just to. I find the epoxy sculpt is great for creating structure, but to smooth it down and really refine it, it needs the perfect plastic putty over top of it. So gotcha. I think I might need to do some of that here too.
Because you're going to have to, you said you're going to have to print your own engines, the impulse engines.
No, I had to scratch build the housing area for it.
Oh, I gotcha.
Which not a big deal, but just something that I've let Helios know that they need to make sure that they provide in the updated version of it. So there's the color.
It's a nice close-up view. Looks good. Nice and 6 foot smooth. I like it.
Yeah. So that's where things are. I'm curious how. I think there's a little bit of area where I need to remove some of the JB Weld.
Lost your camera link. Oh, there it's back.
Probably because I've got my my garage door closed right now. And the Wi-Fi is on the other side of the metal garage door, so I'm going to have to clean some of this out, I think. Some of the JB Weld, quick weld got in there. So I might give that a bit of a run with the Dremel before I paint this thing tomorrow. Yeah. That's how things are looking so far.
Looking good. Remember not to hit end on that mobile app. Woof.
That's not StreamYard.
Oh, is that Droid Cam or something?
It's Video Ninja.
There you go.
Just so that doesn't go into StreamYard. That goes into vMix and then to out to the external output.
Jody says if we have a chance to see Howard, we will. That's good.
Mhm.
Alex says he's home now and says the D was filmed the same way the opening scene in New Hope was. Also, the 2-footer was lit the same way they lit lightsabers. Kind of. The original in New Hope, if I remember correctly, weren't the lightsaber sticks that had rotating chrome strips on them? And that's what they would use to colorize them, frame by frame, by the way, by hand. Adding the
the labor-intensive processes that they used to have to use.
And it's like
like rotoscoping everything for VFX.
Yep, back in the day. Technology has changed everything now. You can see it even in the new movies, like when 7, 8, 9 came out, and 1, 2, 3. You can see them get better and better. If you go back and watch like A New Hope, and if you can find one of the original screenings where you can actually see the like the acrylic sheets that surround the models as they're flying around, you can see the edges. Like it's something else.
In order to mask the inboard grills, I'm going to have to mask the bottom sections, and then I'm going to have to flip the whole thing back on its stand in order to mask the top sections. Just because I can't access both top and bottom at once.
Blair says, any worries for my fellow Canadians crossing the border for Wonderfest, especially with these works of art? You didn't have any problem last year, did you?
No, but it was a very different climate last year.
That is true. That's true.
It's going to be what it is, and like the benefit is I'm not importing this, right? It is a display piece that is not going down for the purpose of sale. It is verifiably coming back with me.
Yeah.
So I would have bigger problems, I think, if I was taking a piece down to deliver to a client.
Right.
That would be more of a problem. Or if I was taking something with the intention on selling it when I was there.
I just don't see them searching your car. I don't, I mean, they're struggling. They posted a bunch of numbers about how much the tourism is down from Canada.
Yeah.
I mean, down to 70% in some places, right?
Well, what we're hearing up here is that they've been searching people's phones and electronic devices.
I've even heard that for actual U.S. citizens coming in from other countries. I don't know what's going on. Like, whatever.
So, I mean, there's no way to predict what it's going to be like. I mean, worst case scenario, we don't get through and we get turned around. That would be quite a shame. But I'll tell you one thing. I'm a YouTuber. So if anything goes wrong, it'll be documented and shared with the world.
That's how you do it. That's good.
And I'll let them know such. Right? I have no worries about the Canadian side.
Bang says, I hope you don't have any gang tattoos. I'm going to take a wild shot here and says, I don't think so.
I can guarantee you I have no gang or otherwise tattoos.
Yeah, I don't have any tattoos either.
Not something I'm interested in.
Yeah, it just never was a thing for me. Blair says, when we crossed last week for FanFest, it was uneventful other than my brother said Star Trek and the guard wanted to talk Star Trek for 20 minutes. There you go.
Well, we got, I know I've shared this before, but on our way back into Canada at the Windsor-Detroit crossing, somebody's coming in. Who's coming in?
Oh, no, nobody.
Oh, I thought I heard it.
No.
Okay.
Just you and me right now.
I was sure I heard the boop. I'm hearing things then. So we got to the Windsor Detroit border, and we get up to the border agent, and where were you? Are you bringing anything back? And I said we were just at the Wonderfest modeling show, and only thing I'm bringing back is one model worth about $50, one Star Trek model. Anyway, so when he sends us off with a live long and prosper. And I looked at his name tag, and his last name was Kirk.
Oh, how awesome!
Wish I would have gotten it on video.
Yeah. Jody says, I hope I get that card. And Ken says, I keep getting ads when you guys are about to say something interesting. Oh, no.
You shouldn't be getting very many. I mean, YouTube has definitely changed how they do stuff. And YouTube will just go ahead and add ads, even if the stream is not monetized. So I'd rather have a few ads pop up infrequently and it go to me, rather than YouTube just doing it anyway and not going to me.
Jody says about every half hour. That's how they get you by YouTube Premium. They get you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of a catch-22 now when it comes to ads and live streams and stuff. Because if you don't activate it, they're just going to do it anyway. So I'd rather see the content creators get the benefit of it than just YouTube.
Right. All right, I'm going to go refill my tea.
All right. I don't know how much tea I've actually got left in here. Oh, I'm getting near the bottom. But these Picard cups are so small. Seems like the teapot just goes on forever and ever and ever. Let me check. Chat. Jody says they won't get what I don't have. Ivang says the ads are still better than the TV commercials every 10 minutes. Well, and they just keep going on and on and on and on. Ken says true. Yeah, because I think for standard television, you get 22 minutes of programming for a half-hour show. Hence, the name of the show, this hour has 22 minutes. All right. As I'm going through this, I'm just trying to keep an eye out for other areas I need to mask before I lay down paint. Because the last thing I want to do is forget to mask something and then have to deal with cleaning it later.
All right, I'm back.
Welcome back.
I think you might have read these already.
I had to go get some tape, so I stopped and read some comments.
Shark says that's why I've had premium. I hate to pay, but no ads is the dream come true. Yeah, I have premium because I can't watch ads. You know, my ad blocker worked for a long time, and then YouTube blocked the blocker. Jody says TV is awful. Yeah, I can't watch TV anymore, like over-the-air television, because I can't stand commercials. And Stamps 45 asks, how big was the Enterprise E?
Like in universe or the model?
Both. I know both were big. The E was bigger than the D lengthwise, wasn't it? But skinnier, like narrower.
Yeah, so less volume but longer.
Right. In Canon. And then the model they made was like 7 feet long. It was pretty big.
It's a beautiful model. I don't know
The
whatever happened.
Beautiful model. The Voyager model was pretty too, and that was huge. The
Yeah.
Voyager model is like 9 feet long. It's huge.
Well, I wonder what happened to the E model, because it didn't go up for sale, I don't think. Or did it? Did they sell it off at Christie's?
Oh, I have no idea. Let's find out.
You guys are probably going to see me flip this thing live on camera tonight.
Uh-oh, looks like it was sold at an auction. In the original configuration, the Enterprise E was just under 700 meters long, had 24 decks. According to Picard, even though deck 26 was reported as being controlled by the Borg. Had at least one refit. Let's go down here. Interesting stuff. Let's see. Following generations, the 6-foot model was modified to have registry number of E, but then reused it. I remember that picture. They show the 6-foot model inside the crate with the marking Enterprise E.
Yeah.
And it disappeared, and that never happened.
Well, it had it. So if you watch the video of the Okudas finding it in storage, when they first opened that crate, it's got the E on it.
Yeah, that's the picture I'm looking at.
So they relabeled it for the purpose of the auction.
Yeah, the Enterprise E was in fact the only replacement for a previously destroyed hero ship that was not the same class.
Yeah, because they didn't want to spend the money on building a new model for the Enterprise A.
Using John Eves is usually at Wonderfest, by the way. So is Rick Sternbach. He also comes to Wonderfest, both of them.
So Rick stopped by my booth and got his hands on the saucer last year.
Gotcha. Yeah.
But I didn't see John Eves.
Yeah, John was there last year. Using Eves sketches, Rick Sternbach drafted the blueprints for a 10-foot physical model for the E. Jesus. The 10-foot model, constructed under supervision of John Goodson at ILM, was used for visual shots during First Contact, along with the CGI version. In Star Trek Insurrection and Nemesis, CGI versions replaced the physical model completely. They made some changes. John Eves made some changes to the CGI model. Warp engines were modified, blah, blah, blah. Okay, the model of the Enterprise E from Star Trek First Contract, Lot 107, was sold at 40 Years of Star Trek, the collection, on October 5th, 2005, October 5th, 2006, for $132,000. The construction blueprints of the filming miniature explicitly labeled 23 decks. However, Picard told Lily Sloan that the ship had 24 decks. Earlier on, however, Daniels reported that the Borg are in controls of decks 26 through 11. Michael and Denise Okuda, good people, say in their text commentary on the film during the scene, which Picard tells Lily about 24 decks. Unfortunately, early in this film, we are told the ship has at least 26 decks, and we can't imagine that Picard doesn't know his own ship, so we theorize the other 2 decks are top secret for some reason. Either that or his memory was affected by his Borg assimilation. It certainly couldn't be a goof because the design of the chip changed slightly.
Yeah, she was a big model.
Oh yeah, there you go. Can you imagine 10 foot, 10 feet? Oh, big boy. He says longer because of the nacelles. That's what I say, because the Borg added decks. Yeah. Evang says the Enterprise was huge. I remember laughing at that episode where it's just Picard and Beverly working the whole ship. Picard's like, this is totally normal.
Yeah. It's too bad that the best reference photos we have for this one are outside in the California sun.
Right. Probably the only way they could get a lot of light on it is stick it outside.
Yeah.
By January 1997, Rick Sternbach added fact to the fact history of ships that the length of the E was 2,248 feet.
So it was sold at the Christie's auction then.
Yeah. 40 years of Star Trek, facilitated by Christie's, New York. They sold the Starship Enterprise E, the Starship Voyager miniature, the D Space Nine model, the Starship Defiant model, the Enterprise C, and the Enterprise D.
They sold the C. I think they sold the Excelsior.
The USS
Sutherland, like the
Enterprise,
Nebula class.
The small Enterprise miniature, and an Enterprise A, all in that same one.
I think Bezos has the refit/A.
Well, I know that Paul Allen bought a ton of those. Like I know he bought the 6-footer. I know when I was at the Skirball film, when I was taking pictures of the D, that they also had a C there, but it wasn't very big. It was maybe 3 foot. I don't know if that was the filming model, but yeah, the principal visual effects model for the USS Defiant sold for $85,000. The Deep Space Nine model sold for $110,000 to an aforementioned Adam Snyder. The Voyager was sold to a British collector, Adrian Hancock. He also bought the Romulan Warbird miniature and the Starship Enterprise C miniature. The Enterprise E was sold for $110,000 to Frank DiMartino, who actually outbid initially. But he was outbid, but the actual winner defaulted on his payment. Selling it to noted collector Adam Schneider. Let's see who this guy is. He's a Star Trek memorabilia collector. Graduate from Columbia University, blah, blah, blah. He's never worked in the motion picture industry. He was a management consultant. He was also, remember when Greg Jean died and they put a bunch of his collection up into an auction? This guy went to that one too.
Just wants to buy all the stuff.
Yeah. He also bought the original series Full Sail Galileo.
I guess if you've got the disposable income.
Right. He worked together with another noted collector, Alec Peters of PropWorks, to restore it. Eventually started receiving backing from staffers like Doug Drexler, Michael Kuda, and others to help finish it. That's nice. Blair says they really need a Star Trek themed museum / theme park.
Well, there's so much stuff that should really be properly curated.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I'm glad they saved the bridge that they recreated from Picard.
Yeah.
But I really wish they wouldn't have modified it.
Well, didn't they have to make 2 of them, though? Because for the ride, for the experience, didn't they do 2 so they could have more people in it, just like they did in Las Vegas? Because Las Vegas, the experience had 2 separate paths you could take, and there was 2 bridges and 2 rides, and
Oh, I have no idea.
I thought I heard something that they had to duplicate it for the fan nights.
I always feel like they should keep so much of that stuff that they make for these iconic shows and movies and stuff and make it available. But I also feel like they should document what they're doing, like what production is doing more while it's being produced. Like, it would be so nice to have more like backstage footage of the sets. Every time they do like behind the scenes set tours and stuff like that, they're only showing stuff that you already see on camera anyway.
Right?
That's not behind the scenes. That's just, we're showing you what you already see on camera anyway. So, and we're telling you things that we don't actually know about. So there is footage on the internet. It can be a little harder to find today, but it's called Stage 9 Interlopers. And during, I'm going to say it was during season 1 or was it season 1? It must have been the season where they had Commander Maddox. No, not Commander Maddox, but what's his name? The guy who, there was the admiral and there was the commander and there was the conspiracy and the bug creatures that would crawl in your in the back of your neck, and conspiracy was the episode. TNG Conspiracy. Still there?
Yep.
Okay.
I was just looking for more information.
Season 1, yeah. So they these 2 guys break into the set on stage 9. So that's the stage where they had crew quarters, the junior officer crew quarters, the sick bay, engineering, all that kind of stuff. And they just made a terrible mess of everything. And they were just like blundered their way around the sets in the dark. And it's terribly grainy footage, but you do get some interesting insights through the video, including that they had some actual capacitive touch sensors built into the LCARS panels, because they were able to touch the panel in certain spots and actually get it to light up and turn on.
Right.
It's like, how much of that, it'd be so nice if that was more like documented, how they did things.
Evang says, I remember Vegas offered the option to get married on the Star Trek bridge, like an episode of Love Boat in Space. I remember that. Yeah.
What was that?
They would let you get married on the bridge on the Las Vegas experience.
Oh.
They would take pictures. You could get pictures. I mean, you could get pictures in the captain's chair without getting married, but
well, that bridge was a reproduction, and it suffered from the same issue where they the ramp was lowered for safety concerns.
Yeah, but I don't remember a bunch of railings because I went on it a couple times.
No, I don't think there were the railings, but it was a shorter, up like a short, lower down upper section. All due to safety regulations and stuff. I guess you can get away with doing things on a set that you can't, where the public is invited in. All right. This is where it gets interesting.
Uh-oh. Now what? Oh, boy. Be careful. Blair asked, what am I seeing in your top-down camp? Is that another mount piece? Yeah, that's the plate, right? That's the plate that goes inside the secondary hull.
Oh, I forgot I taped these wires down. Quick.
Pieces, never mind.
The metal. Sorry, I was focusing because I some critical movements. If you're talking about the piece that was sticking up, that's the metal plate that will be attached to the inside of the base. And then, where are they here?
Have you ever measured how long that is?
It's about 3 feet.
Is it?
So so Blair, just so you're aware, because I can't permanently mount the post inside, and the whole model is slightly, whatever that means, front heavy. It angles down naturally. So when it's mounted inside the base, it has to be one moment, please. It has to be angle, like it has to be shimmed. It's just the nature of the beast. Hoping these custom made shim pieces do the job, but they might actually need to be just slightly higher on the high end, I think. Oh no, that actually might be perfect. But just so that you're aware, that's the nature of the beast. All right. It's right side up.
Yeah. And Yvang says that top-down shot looks really nice. It really does. It's so big. It's so big.
So you may notice that there's red in the conference room.
Yeah, I saw that.
I took a mold. I took a silicone mold of the conference room when I was trying to figure out how I was going to be doing the windows for that. And so when I was trying to figure out how I was going to mask it for painting, what I decided to do was take those kind of plug pieces and just reinsert them.
There you go. Window plug.
They're perfectly shaped for the model. So, okay.
Ricardo says, "Oh my God, I literally stopped breathing you watching Turn the Enterprise." That's okay. So did Andrew.
Yeah, I could not talk while I was doing that.
Yeah. Blair says she's perfect.
Well,
and then I think he's quoted Picard. And he's like, "But Geordi, how?"
She's still in rough form. She'll start to come together more once she's fully primed.
I'm gonna send Rick Sternbach and Mike Lakuta, who I have contacts with them both on Facebook, and I'm gonna send them this screenshot right here.
What screenshot?
This screenshot, this right here, this scene of your video, and I'll be like, look what he's doing.
There's no scale.
Yeah, there is. Your hands and head are in there.
Okay.
Yvang says, sometimes I use putty for masking. Have you ever tried using putty?
Not putty, but because it's a little more difficult to remove. But I do use the liquid mask for covering nav lights. So I fully expect that the primer coat that goes on this tomorrow, hopefully, is going to completely unify everything. I'm also going to be using a bit of a filling primer. So the hope is that it'll any of the minor defects, the filler primer will just help fill. Because just the nature of the kit, there's a ton of just like minor blemishes and stuff that I'm just hoping that the primer is going to deal with. But then again, if it doesn't, the gray primer is going to accentuate it for me so I can actually see where all that stuff is and handle it. Todd must be deep in thought.
I'm trying to figure out where Paul Allen's collection went. Because I went to the Skirball, that was years ago. He got like, you know, he has Captain Kirk's chair. He has like Geordie's Levisor. I mean, he's got a whole bunch of stuff. Some of the original tricorders and medical sensors, and the guy was nuts for Star Trek. Tons of costumes, the Gorn costume.
It's like, what do you do with all that stuff?
And what's interesting is he, in the pictures of his collection when it was at Mopop in Seattle, he has the E hanging there and the 6-foot D. I wonder if he ended up with the E.
Maybe somebody's eyes were bigger than their wallet.
It's possible. Or else he went after that person and said, "Can I have it? I pay you." I mean, he's long passed away now. It's his estate owns it all, but Blair says, "Can you imagine if they made a main hangar deck set? That size would be crazy." Oh, it would be obnoxious.
If they made what? Sorry?
The main hangar bay, if they actually created a set for it.
Oh, it's bigger than people think.
Yeah. It's probably, if you were to take the entire inner half of that saucer section, that's how big that deck was.
Well, it's so this ring here.
That's not it. It's bigger than that.
So
it almost goes out to the windows. See the windows on the next deck down, outside of that.
That's the inner core of the shuttle bay, essentially. So there's an inner core, and the shuttle bay goes around that inner core. And I believe this is the size of the inner core.
Let me grab my blueprints. Hold, please. Da, 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 da. Deck 2. Here, I'll send this to you. It's a massive image, though, but I'll send it to you anyway because it shows the shuttle deck, the shuttle bay. Oh, no, I can't do that. No, go away. Go away.
You want me to go away?
No. I had the wrong thing selected in here. Here's deck 2. It's in the middle here. This is a really big picture, just let you know. These are original scans of the Sternbach blueprints, but you can get an idea of how big that shuttle bay is.
It does. Oh, there we go.
It's huge. It'll take a while to open.
Yeah, it just took a little bit to render in.
But you can see I think it's deck 3 and 4, which you can see the upper open area on the left section. And then the main shuttle bay is there in the center. Yeah.
Well, I thought the central core was bigger.
No, it was just a little con tower. That's why I thought it was interesting that you were pointing out this. I don't think so. Because if you look at deck 3, if you scoot to the left, deck 3 is what sat underneath the flush vents and stuff. That's what's under the bridge, that big dome thing that you were touching.
Yeah.
But actually, you can actually see the flush vents are even smaller. Do you see the ovals? They're on deck 3. Yeah, that's your flush vents. That's how big that raised part of the outside saucer is, because that's your circles on either side. It's so big. It took him so much. If you just look at where it says 1701D at the shuttle bay opening, and you sit there and go, that set would have been just absolutely enormous.
Yeah. Well, there's a reason why they never showed that, apart from showing the little entryway here.
Yeah.
Where the doors opened. There's a reason why they never showed anything else.
No. And then if you look at deck 6 or deck 5, the one on the right, you can see they had elevators that went down to a lower storage area and stored even more shuttle under there.
Yeah.
They had like aircraft carrier elevators.
Yeah.
At least that's what Rick Sternbach envisioned.
Yeah. Well, and there's all the bays for them in here and stuff. So.
Oh yeah. Let's see. Stamps is taking off. He says, "Thanks for the info. It's bedtime. It's good night. See you later, Stamps."
Good night. Thanks for joining.
Blair says, "Doesn't Dr. Laura have a bunch as well?" If you're talking about memorabilia, I'm sure you got the money. Yvang says, "Let me grab this one. Do you have your own models, or do you only make models for other people?"
As of right now, I'm only making stuff that leaves here when it's done.
Oh, nice.
At the moment, my wife appreciates that the things I build don't stick around when they're done.
Yvang says, "I have the diorama for the main shuttle bay for this kit." I heard about that they made it so you could have the door open and you could look down inside there.
Yeah, the one that Helios put together, though, essentially it's just like, if you can see you can't see that yet. Let me share the right screen here. You should be able to see my mouse on screen.
Yeah.
So really, it's only like this.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not the proper in-world shuttle bay.
Yeah.
But you also, the problem with putting in a shuttle bay here is you'd never see everything. You'd have to put a like endoscopic camera in order to see it.
Yeah. Well, and you never saw that shuttle bay open.
Yeah. Well, no, we saw it open once in Cause and Effect.
Oh yeah. Well, sort
but
of.
You can only see a small portion of the entryway there.
Yeah, and you see the door slightly open. And I bet you they built that as a custom piece.
They did.
Yeah, I don't think that's relevant. But yep, I got that. Alex says, "Wasn't the D so big so the crews could have their families with them?" Yeah, supposedly.
Well, also for so the typical crew complement barely touched the amount of space that it had.
Right.
There were several decks that were essentially just empty space so that they can configure it for mission, or at least in the.
If I remember, there was like 1,000 or 1,100 crew members, but it could hold 2,500 or 3,000 people if they really needed it to, for like panic evacuations and things like that. But
even like whole, like basically, you know how office buildings are just a empty floor until they do the renovations for whoever it is that's renting it.
Yep.
So apparently the thought was that there were just huge sections in the saucer that were that way and just ready for mission specific modifications.
Yeah. Yang says, I saw that Rick Sternbach is going to be at Wonderfest. Yeah, he's there every year. He was there 2 years ago and last year, and he's selling books and stuff. He has a little table, and he.
Yeah. All right, that's the chiller grills masked off for painting. Hooray!
Awesome.
Oh, I also need to pull out the photo etch and the other stuff in the deflector.
Impulse engine.
Sorry, impulse engine. Thank you. Streamer brain.
It's all right.
It's a real thing. Look it up. I'm going to put this stuff somewhere safe here. Yeah. And I'm going to mask the inside of the impulse engine. And then I think that's, apart from putting a dollop of liquid mask on all of the navigation lights. Oh, I should have done that before I flipped it over on the bottom ones. Oh well, it's gonna get another flip.
Another breath holding moment.
Yeah. But what was I saying? So bit of silicone on the nav lights. I've got to do the impulse engine here. And you know what? I could trace out the photo etch and make a custom piece of tape that fits almost perfectly.
So you don't have streamer brain then. That was logical and made a lot of sense.
And actually, I'll trace it out and then I'll cut it a bit smaller than the photo etch.
Ken says they should make one of those empty decks one big holodeck. You don't need a big holodeck. It moves with you.
Yeah. Unless you are the Herojin and overfill the holodecks with too many people and need more space. My pencil is probably lost here somewhere.
Ian probably has it. Jody says, I was just about to suggest that to you. Tracing your photo etch.
Yeah. Well, I don't know where my pencil went. Oh, found it. Found it. This photo etch is not provided. And was manufactured or fabricated by Hagen Miller. In his preparations for building this kit. But he's gotten sidetracked by the Excelsior.
As you do.
And he's going to have his Excelsior. So he got the, which size did he get? The 4 something scale, I think. From Helios. And so he's bringing that to Wonderfest.
Yvang says, does he sell the photo etches?
I don't know. He sent these to me. I don't know if he's selling them. You could probably find out by asking. He actually had he's gotten a Pelican case to bring his Excelsior in, and he's had the foam cut to size to handle the ship.
Evang says, I'm looking for people to take my money. And Alex says, I'm hungry, so he's going to go get his dinner. Excellent. Do that.
Yes, we don't want anybody fainting because they haven't eaten. And besides, I'm on longer than I normally would be. Probably pay for it in the morning. That's fine. I kind of want to push through and get this thing prepped so I can put the paint on tomorrow. Assuming the weather cooperates. Hopefully it's not a rainy, humid day like today was. Just trimming this down a little bit.
He'll just take your money, Evang. That's all he wants. I mean, if you're handing it out and all.
This is going to be easier if I just move the mat.
Oh, yeah. Just make sure nothing falls off the far end of the mat, like your scriber, tools, and...
Yeah, they are. That's just a...
cost of doing business, man.
Yeah. There we go. Now I can access this a little easier.
I have determined that my cup, my teacup is the same size as yours and needs to be refilled again.
Oh, really?
I'll be right back. Oh, but Blair says, night, gents, got to run. Keep up the awesome work.
All right. Well, have a good one, Blair.
Take care, Blair. I'll be right back.
Trying to get this thing placed in just the right spot is the trick in itself. Well, I think I got it. Here we go. Oh, I am missing a window mask on the back here. I will need to replace that. The trick is, where are those window masks? Back of neck, regular windows. I'm going to let's see. What do I have here? Lower saucer wide. Lower saucer narrow. Just got all these strips of window masks.
And back.
Back of neck, supplementary windows. I'm going to assume that one of these will fit. I found a missing window mask. So I'm trying to find.
You know, it looked, when you had it upside down and you had the camera up close, it looks like you might have had a couple missing from the neck, but it's hard to tell.
Well, I've just got one missing from the neck, and that's not quite the right size. I hate to print one window. But looks like I found the right sized one. as I was developing the window masks, I'd print just the size I needed, because I'd print them off and then test them. But then as people were wanting the masks, I put a consolidated set together. So, but I've got all these small strips of window masks and just labeled on the back, written on the back what they are. So trying to find the exact one I need can sometimes be a wee bit tricky. There are whole pile of secondary hull side, like edge rim windows, I guess is what you would call them here, that came off when I was dealing with this seam. This section here I had to build out a little bit. Oh, you can't even see that on camera right now. Let me move this back now that I've got the impulse engine masked. So I had to build this little section out because it was a little bit short on material. So I just had to re-sculpt this edge with epoxy sculpt. But in the process of the sanding and stuff like that, a lot of these windows came off. So I'm going to have to remask all of those. I'm going to have to find those window masks. Hopefully I have it.
You label them for your own benefit too, right?
Well, they're all labeled on the master sheets, but I don't want to go into a master sheet if I don't have to. Back of neck regular windows. That strip is, I should label this strip before I forget what it is. It's what I was working with last night. That's the dormer style windows. I have a Sharpie around here somewhere. Problem with running like 4 separate work surfaces in here is things get placed on different surfaces and can never find them when you want them.
Andrew has a question. He says, whenever you're on streaming, does your wife ever call your cell phone to see when you're coming to bed?
You mean Ken has a question, not
Yeah,
Andrew.
what did I say?
You said
no,
Andrew
Ken has a question for Andrew. Yes.
No, she does not, because if I'm down here, it usually means she's in bed for the night. All right, I have completely lost a Sharpie, my main Sharpie. And I kind of need like a Sharpie or something similar to write on the back of those masks. Otherwise, it just doesn't work.
You know, I was watching, speaking of Ian, I was watching his Batman or his Batmobile video they just put out. And his wife calls him while he's down there, and you can hear their entire conversation. I don't think he thinks you can hear it, but you can hear it.
If during a video?
Yes.
Why didn't he edit it?
I don't know. I mean, you can clearly hear her saying, like, when are you coming to bed? You spent enough time down there. And he's like, well, that was the wife. I'm almost done. I've got to keep doing things.
Again, like, why would you include that? Why would you not edit that out?
I don't know. Good times.
I have to say, not enough model building content creators pay enough attention to their editing.
That's true.
And editing is so important.
Ken says it's over there, but I think you found it already.
No, I went and grabbed a green one from a drawer, but my black one is just missing in action.
Is it underneath that orange towel? Or that yellow towel?
Yes. Well, it's not just an orange towel. It's a microfiber cloth on top of a foam sheet.
Oh, I got you. All right.
Because that's what the saucer was sitting on. Just to protect it. There we go. The case of the missing Sharpie is solved. But I still need... Which masks is it that I... Oh, yeah, the saucer rim window masks. I just saw those not that long ago. I think I saw them on a random strip of masks. I've got so many just random strips of vinyl masking all over the place in the shop here. It's kind of ridiculous. It's what happens when you're R&Ding all that stuff.
Ken says he's sorry he had to throw in some HTM references.
Uh-huh. I just grabbed like a whole plethora of random window strips. Trying to see.
I like that word. I used that word for a long time.
Plethora?
Oh, yeah. It's one of my favorite words.
These are some of the... here, let me see. These are some of the test strips I did for those greebles all over the ship. Because I cut those in vinyl. Because there was no way... I tried scratch building with styrene. But there was no way.
Not thin enough?
Well, just to get them to look right. They're just... I've got Arboretum windows. Upper secondary hull rim windows. I found them. Huzzah. That didn't take as long to find as I thought. It's like, do I keep going? Keep doing this tonight, knowing I have to be up in the morning to work. It's like Minecraft, one more block, one more block, one more block. It's just like one more thing. I'm just going to get one more thing done. And that one more thing turns into two more things, turns into five more things, turns into 5 hours later.
Mm-hmm. Well, you are coming up on the 3-hour mark.
Yeah? That must mean it's almost midnight. It is almost midnight.
Yeah, but you made a lot of progress.
Yep. Part of it is I need to push through to get out of this horrid seamwork stage and get to the stage I like, doing the painting, the masking, and then the best part about the whole thing, like probably the favorite part, is it being done.
Mm-hmm.
Now these rim windows, you might be able to see them on camera, but these rim windows will not receive any light from inside the model. Just the way the model is designed. But they have the clear pieces in, and they'll look just like off windows. Like rooms with the lights off.
Well, there was a surprising number of black windows on the D, so. How are you choosing your lighting pattern?
What do you mean?
Like which windows are going to be lit, which ones aren't?
I just did it randomly.
Oh, did you? All right.
Now, the caveat on that is that windows grouped together are considered to be the same cabin. And so groupings of windows are either on or off. So you don't get like two windows right next to each other, one of them being on, one of them being off. Because that makes no sense. Because clearly when they're grouped together that closely, they're windows in the same room. So they should either be all on or all off.
Yeah, I mean, I lit mine based on the 4-foot studio model. But yeah, you're right that a lot of them don't make any sense. You're like, how is 2 windows right next to each other unless there was a microscopic wall between them? But Ken says, "Are you coming on the stream tomorrow? We would give you an exemption on the May the 4th build?"
Well, I certainly would not be doing a Star Wars build right now, and I certainly would not be doing anything other than the Enterprise D right now because I have to get it done I have to get it as done as I can for Wonderfest. If there's a few decals missing, I'm not going to worry about that. But I don't know if I would make it on. My wife is out of town for a family event. My mother is here currently to help with the kids in the morning while I have to work. But I'm on my own with the kids for bedtime tomorrow, so I'll have to see if I make it or not. But I certainly would not be breaking out my one Star Wars kit I have.
Speaking of which, I think I need to make a thumbnail for that.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
All right, I need upper secondary hull main windows, if I can find them. See if they're in this batch. Back of neck regular windows. Unnamed. Back of neck supplementary windows. Lower saucer narrow. Lower saucer wide, because not all the windows are the same width on this thing. Unnamed white windows. More unnamed windows. I'll see if this fits, though, although I think they're a little bit too long. Oh, yeah, those are too long. Time to go through my batch that I found. Medium, whatever medium means. More of the Greevils. Upper secondary hull main windows, found them. I'm so glad I had the forethought to label these things. Any more missing? Just checking for missing windows here. Gonna go check on the other side. Oh. There we go. Those all look good and intact. All right. Oh, something else I do need to do is I need to install the photon launcher on the back. And that area is going to need some TLC. It's also going to need a little mask. There's the aperture I ended up, I don't know if this is going to actually pick up anything, but on the aperture on the little tiny photon launcher part, I put some solar resin.
Oh, well, that'd be something.
Just so that I could have a surface to mask it, because otherwise I'm not masking just the little piece of fiber that's in there. I'll just cut a wee tiny piece, put it on there. Guesstimate the size I need. Oh, and it is after midnight. I'm going to have to go here in a moment, I think. So not fully prepped for paint, but well on the way. Tiny, tiny piece of tape.
That's almost where I feel like a ball of like blue tack would be even easier.
Yeah. This is what I have available easily. All right, well, it is after midnight. I'm going to call it there. Let's see.
You're all cut up in chat?
Perfect. Well, thank you for keeping chat on track.
Still got 12 people hanging around. Don't forget to throw a like and subscribe if you haven't.
All the YouTube things. So thank you, everyone, for joining. We are almost there as far as getting this thing ready for paint. Hopefully, I'll get the primer on tomorrow. And then if all goes well, I might get the base coat on Monday. We'll see. Hopefully, weather is cooperating and the seams cooperate. But if you've enjoyed this stream, make sure you hit that like button. If you're new to my channel or you haven't done so yet, hit the subscribe button today. You'll make me very happy if you do. But for now, my name is Andrew. This is Canadian Starships. Your producer tonight has been Todd. Have a great night, everyone.